Stop. Hey, everybody turn your attention to the sideboard over here. Algebra 1B. The 25th of November. Caden, what's SWBA stand for?
What? Students will be able to. The T is silent.
Very good. Use function notation and evaluate functions 4.2, okay? Last class, we talked about this idea of function. Please stop whistling. Thank you. Okay? Last class, we talked about this idea of, guys. Stop.
Hey, Kobe.
Ready?
Guys,
No.
I'll pick it up right away.
No. Okay, thank you. Okay? Last class, we talked about this idea of function notation. Okay? Remember this idea of function notation. Okay? Or functions, not function notation. Remember functions. We said functions were a more specific type of relations. Okay?
Yes.
Just like sophomores are a more specific type of high schoolers. Okay? Functions are a more specific type of relations. Okay? So then we talked about at the very end of our notes last time, the practicing substituting in values. You guys remember that? Substituting in values. You guys remember that? Where we had like y equals 2x plus 1.
Yes.
Okay. Flip over your page real quick. Flip to the previous page and look at your notes. Look at the very bottom section.
I know how to do this. You have to
Okay.
plug in that.
Remember that? Look at the previous page. Remember the very bottom section.
Yeah.
On the previous page. Okay. Okay.
Substituting
We
values.
did that. You guys remember doing that?
Yes.
You take it and you plug it into the x, and we said we got out a y with it. Okay.
Oh wait.
Okay. So now today we're in 4.2, and we're talking about function notation. So notation just means how you write something. If you hear the word notation, you kind of hear the word note at the front of it. Okay. It has to do with noting things, writing things. Okay. If you're taking notes, you're writing things down. Okay. So notation is how something is written. Okay. It's how something is written. Okay. So in function notation, if we replace in our equations, we had y equals 2x plus 1 before. If we replace the y with this f parentheses x, we show it's a function. That just tells us it's a function. They're the same thing, y and this f parentheses x, okay? We read it as f of x. So once again, everybody eyes up here, please. Okay? If I see this f parentheses x, I read that and I say f of x. Every time I read that, I say f of x.
So parentheses is of.
Yep, the parentheses just means of for us there, okay? It's saying function of x, okay? So the value in parentheses would be used to replace x. So for example, we have f of x is equal to 3x minus 4. F of x we set up here is the same thing as y. We replace the y with f of x. So this would be like before we had the equation y equals 3x minus 4. We had y equals 3x minus 4. Okay, you guys remember having an equation similar to that last time?
Yeah.
Okay, we did. Okay, and now if I ask you guys to plug in 3 for x, what variable would you replace? X, and you'd replace it with 3, okay? And then you go through and you multiply and then you subtract and you find out what y is, okay? Today, we're saying that instead of y, we're calling it f of x. We're just changing the variable, we're calling it f of x. And it's the same thing as y, okay? It's not a new x, it's just saying this is a function, okay, of the variable x.
You could change it, like pretty much, it's like saying as if f of x is the same as y.
Kind of, yeah, but instead, because we use f of x, it's just saying it's a function, okay? The f stands for function. And when you write it like this, it'll be function, okay? Well, I'll continue to explain as we keep going, okay? Boys. Thank you. Okay? So, when we have f of 3 here, we're saying if f of x is equal to 3x minus 4, find each value. So we're saying find f of 3. Well, what's the 3 replacing right here? What was in the parentheses? X. What's in the parentheses now? 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation, and instead of writing x, we're going to replace it with a 3. So please write that with me now.
I'm making it right.
Okay. Hey, please write this with me. Okay. You didn't write it yet. You didn't. Again, you didn't write it yet. That's later. This is now. Thank you. Okay. So what we're saying here is when we have f of 3, we take this 3, and since it replaced x inside the parenthesis, we replace x on the other side of the equation as well, okay? Now, if f of x, if this f of 3 is just replacing y, we're not moving this around at all. We are just doing what's on the right here. So on the right here, this f of 3 is going to stay the same. So what is 3 times 3? 9 minus 4. Go ahead and write that down. Go ahead and write that down as our next step, please and thank you.
Ooh.
Okay? And then we have one final step, which some of you guys have already said. F of 3 is now equal to what number? What's 9 minus 4?
5.
5. F of 3 equals 5. And that's our answer, okay? What this would have been like before, if I show you guys what it would have looked like before, okay, if we have our heads up and we're looking at our board here.
Oh, so
Okay.
question.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, so if I would have had this y equals 3x minus 4,
Oh, no.
everything's the same except for f of x is y. And I plug in 3, Tony.
What?
No, alright now. You go to the bathroom.
You are
Okay. Okay. If I had to plug this in like before, what would we have done?
We would have done
Everything.
plus
3 times 3 is
nine.
minus 4, and what's 9 minus 4?
5.
And so we've got y equals 5. Now we just have f of 3 equals 5. But we said f of x replaced y, so f of 3 is replacing y right now. This just tells us what we're plugging in. We just use this and say, oh, we're plugging that one in. So instead of saying find y when x is 3 and writing all that out, this is what that's saying, just shorthand. It's abbreviating it. So instead of saying, hey, find if this is the equation, find y when x is 3. No, we're saying, okay, this is our function, and when you plug 3 in, this is what you get. So it's just taking it and putting it in just this little form right here, okay? Katie.
Okay, so I have 2 questions.
Okay.
So for number 1, how did you get the second 3?
Okay.
It's like 3x.
There's already so this was 3x minus 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I put the 3 there, the 4 here. X became what number? 3. And it became 3 because x became what number in the parentheses?
3.
So that told us, hey, we substitute 3 in.
Okay, so
So instead of being, one second, I'll let you finish, okay? So instead of saying, hey, when x is 3, what's y? That's what this is asking. When x is this number, what do we get out? What do we get out 5? Continue.
okay, so number 2. So that means it would be like f of 3 equals negative 1, then parentheses 3 minus 4.
Okay. So what number here changed? Did the x change or did the 3 change?
The x.
The x, okay? So the 3 is still going to stay the same in each of these. Okay. So in our next one here, okay, when it's f of negative 1, we still have this 3x minus 4. But instead of x, we write what number?
Yeah, negative 1. I just got
Negative
it
1.
And then if it's f of negative 1 equals 5.
We won't end up
Wait,
getting
why
that.
would you?
Okay.
Why is it negative?
Okay. Because what's in the parentheses now? Negative 1. So we're saying, okay, for the function f, that's what we name the function. Okay. For this function, 3x minus 4, we plugged in 3 before because that's what was in the parentheses. Now we plug in negative 1, that's what's in the parentheses. So we plug that in for x. We say, hey, let's put that in place of x. Let's substitute that in place of x. Okay? So this would be the equivalent as if on the side over here, we had the equation y equals 3x minus 4. And if I asked you guys to find y when x is negative 1, what would you do? If I asked you guys to find y when x is negative 1, what would you do over here? You substitute the x out for 1. Was that really the same thing we did here?
Yeah.
If you look at what's written in the orange and the light blue, those are the same. 3 times negative 1 minus 4. 3 times negative 1 minus 4.
Is the answer 5 of negative 7?
It will be negative 7, okay? So we look over here, f of negative 1
Yes.
will be equal to negative 3 minus 4. And f of negative 1 is equal to negative 7. Now, guys, here's the common thing I see, okay? There's a lot of times we see this negative 1, and people over here want to start moving this negative 1 around, okay? Because we see a number over here now, we're like, oh, we need to move that number around. Not true. Because f of negative 1 is one whole thing,
all together. We want them to stay together. People are like, oh, I need to divide, I need to do this. No, actually. Okay? Whereas if I stay over here and I finish this off, y equals negative 3 minus 4, y equals negative 7. So just like we didn't want to move the y around, we don't want to move this f of negative 1 around. Same thing, okay? It's the same idea. Questions on that? Okay. Let's actually add another example up here. I'm feeling like we might need that right now. Okay. We're going to do another example up here. If I put in f of, let's go with 4. Okay. F of 4. Let's go ahead and put that up in the top right corner. We have some room there in the top right corner. Okay. What do you guys think we're going to write there? Okay. I want you to write what you think it would be before you blur. I want you to write what you think we put there before you blur. Anybody want to volunteer to share what they have? Gracie.
8.
Oh, okay, but for the setup.
Oh, okay. 3, and then parentheses 4, and then minus 4.
I agree entirely with that, okay? Does anyone have any questions on that, of why we did it that way? Okay? It'd be the same thing as if we had y equals, and we said, hey, find y when x is 4. Where this is what that's what this is really asking us, just with a lot less words. Okay? This is a shortcut version. Okay? It's really what that is. It ends up being a shortcut version of that. Okay? So we end up solving for this, and f of 4 ends up being 3 times 4 is 12 minus 4. And like Gracie said, f of 4 would equal 8.
So question.
Yes.
So there's really no point for the f of 4 to be there.
It's just replacing our y, and the reason we have it there, okay, is because this way is to show it's a function. Okay? That's the whole reason we're doing this, is we show, hey, this is a function, okay? And in a moment here, we'll start seeing another reason why we have it, okay? But the entire point is so that way someone sees this and they instantly know it's a function. Whereas, remember last worksheet that we just checked over, okay? One of the things we were doing the whole time was saying, is it a function? Is it not a function? Is it a function? Is it not a function? Remember that? This tells someone already, hey, we already figured out it's a function. We already know. So it's like one less step. So if you start it here, you're saying, oh, we already have step done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So otherwise, though, everything else we treat it the same as we treat y. It's just we already know it's a function. Does that make sense? Okay, good question. Okay. So hey guys, here f of 3a. This one's a little bit different. Okay. F of 3a. Well, just like over here, okay, just like with the others, we're gonna take instead of the x, we put in 3a in parentheses. Everything else is the same, but instead of x, we put in 3a in parentheses, okay? Because that's what it's asking us to substitute. We're saying, hey, when x is 3a, what do we get? And this like kind of looks weird. I'm gonna ask you to write what I have up there so far. If you haven't already, go and write that one part. Okay. So all we did so far was we rewrote the same function we've done every time.
You just added.
And instead of x, we put in 3a. Because that's what it's asking us to. That's what it has in the parentheses there. Okay?
So that it don't matter.
So, what we do is we go through our multiplication like normal. What's 3 times 3a? 9a minus 4. Now here's our question. Can we combine those anymore?
No.
We're done. So that kind of looks weird, doesn't it? Okay? But we're just saying, that's really just to show us, hey, you can plug in literally anything in there and continue to simplify. It's just sometimes you can't simplify very much. Okay? Before, we kept having to add and subtract. Now it's subtract. Okay? Here, 9 minus 4, that's all we can do. Okay? Questions on that? Okay, I know this idea is different, but is it starting to make a little more sense? It looks like it is. Okay, it makes me happy. Okay? There's all sorts of Gucci in the game, okay? Instead of F's in the chat. Okay? So guys, now we're gonna be given 2 different functions, okay? We're told we have a function and we're gonna call it G this time. Now I know it's kind of weird, right, to call a function G, okay? Please stop whistling. Okay? We're gonna have a function G of x, and we're gonna have a function H of x. Okay? Now all this is the letter in front of it, the G, the H. That's just telling us which function we're talking about, okay? So as we eventually, we'll have multiple functions. Right now we have two different functions we're talking about. We're talking about g and h. This is saying, hey, it's a different function than what we were talking about earlier. These are two different ones. G of x is negative 2x plus 3. H of x is x squared minus 4x plus 9. Okay? So, stop. Guys, yeah, we're gonna be done whistling today, though. Oh, we're done today. Thank you. Okay. So, now. Okay. Now, earlier when we had f of x, we used the letter f because it was a function. Okay. So just because it's g and h, we're not going to call it like gunction and hunction. Okay. They're still functions. Okay? It's just the function g, the function h. Okay. So on number 4 here, Tony, if you had to guess which of the two functions we'd use, g or h, which one do you think we're going to use on number 4?
I feel like this is.
H. Why do you think h now?
I don't know.
What's number 4 say?
Oh,
It says h of 2. So if it says h of 2, are we going to use the function g? No. Which function are we going to use, Caden?
H.
H. So we're going to take 2, and we're going to plug it in anywhere we see x here.
Ooh.
So instead of writing x squared minus 4x plus 9,
It's
we're going to write
It's h2 squared.
h of 2. So we're going to write 2 squared minus
Minus
4
4
times
plus 9.
2 plus 9. Okay?
Wait,
So
why is there time?
Because that's what's here. What's 4x mean?
Oh, there's two variables.
Yep, so we plug it in for both of them. Anywhere you see x, you have to plug it in. So anywhere you see x after that, you have to plug it in. Yes, Gracie? Okay. We're going to basketball today? Okay. Maybe. Okay. Questions on this one, guys? On the
Stop
setup so
whistling.
far? You said what?
Said if they stop whistling.
If you stop whistling.
If everyone stops whistling.
Yeah, okay,
Okay. So, here,
buddy.
h of 2, as we go through and simplify, what comes first in our order of operations? Okay. Parentheses and exponents. We don't have anything in parentheses, we have exponents though. What exponent do we have? 2 squared. What is 2 squared? What's 2 to the second power? 4. 2 to the second power means 2 times itself. So it'd be 4 minus 4 times 2 plus 9. Okay? So we go through order of operations just like we have been doing, those kind of funnel problems. 4.
0.
Okay.
0
What's-
4.
Well, not quite. What comes first though? Before the subtraction, we have to do multiplication. What's 4 times 2? 8. So it's 4 minus 8 plus 9. Okay. Everybody tracking with me there?
Yeah, boy.
Okay. So now we have h of 2 is equal to what
Negative
subtraction? Yep, negative 4. 4 minus 8 is negative 4 plus 9. So what's h of 2 end up equaling?
5.
What kind of 5?
Positive.
5, right? Very good. Okay. So notice, we first have to say, which of the two are we doing? G or H? Well, it says H, so we're gonna do H. Okay. We're not gonna make it more complex. Okay. Then we take 2 and we plug it in for each x you see. Because x is being squared, 2 is being squared. Because x is being multiplied with 4, 2 is being multiplied with 4. Okay. As we set it up, we're just doing an order of operations problem. Stop. Thank you. Okay. So on 5, which function are we using? Are we using G or H there, Sierra? G, very good. How'd you know? Because it's a letter G, okay? Can somebody help me set this one up?
I got you.
Okay, go ahead.
Alright, so for this one, we're going to go equals -2 times -3.
Very good.
And then we're going to go plus 3.
Very good, okay? So we take the G of x, we write everything else the same, except for x is now -3. And that's what we're told to substitute because it's in the parentheses for us. Okay? I'm going to ask you guys to go and finish this problem off. Done. Brady, what'd you get for your next step? What's -2 times -3? Yep, 6. And then Caden, what was 6 plus 3? Excuse me.
9.
Yep, 9. So G of -3 ends up being 9.
Okay. I want you guys to go do number 6 on your own, please.
How easy clouds are. You got eggs.
You got it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Oh, I just get the freaking G word.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Ba, 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 ba. Hey. Hey. Nope. Done. Castle. Trim A.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know you guys are even talking about. Okay, so great time for you to talk about this one, okay? H of -2, first thing first, we plug it in. -2 being squared, minus 4 times -2 plus 9. Any questions on plugging it in right away before you do any math?
No.
No. But I know what to do that.
Okay. -2 squared. That means this number multiplied by itself this many times. So -2 times -2 is what number? +4. Very good.
Got that.
Okay, and everything else stays the same. So h of -2 is, well, what's -4 times -2?
Negative, positive 6, 8.
Positive 8.
Oh, plus 9. Oh.
So we have 4 plus 8 plus 9. Okay. Questions up to here.
12.
Okay. So h of -2 is going to be
Whoa, 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 whoa.
4 plus 8 is 12 plus 9.
Hold
What's up, buddy?
hold up. How did you get positive 4 if it's a negative?
Yeah.
Positive.
So you can think of this either as a -4 or a minus a +4. Okay, so let's say we think of it as a positive form. Okay,
No,
let's
wait,
say
no. I know, but like negative 2 to the exponent of 2. That's how is that positive 4?
okay, so an exponent means you're doing this.
Times itself by 2. Oh my god!
So it's this many of them multiplying together. Okay. And what is 12 plus 9? Anyone?
Nope. It's not. It's not 21.
Oh, it's not. That's
Nope.
me.
It's 22.
I think you're wrong.
What's 9 plus 10?
Questions on that one?
So how
Okay. Gracie, I lied to you. Let me show you how to set this one up, and then I'll let you go. Okay. So g of 2 plus 5. Here's what we're gonna do, guys. We cover this up at first. G of 2, what would we do?
we would do we do -2 times 2 plus 3 plus 5.
Okay. So you do -2 times 2 plus 3. And after you write all g of 2, we have a plus 5.
Plus 5.
So we write a plus 5.
I know that
So we
part.
wrote our g of 2.
My mom
They wrote
taught me
plus
that.
5. Okay. So let me highlight this over here. Okay.
Taught me a lot of stuff.
Okay. So stop. Okay. So here is g of 2. And here is the plus 5, okay? That's what we see here. That's the g of 2, and that's the plus 5, okay? That's how we set that up. I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and finish solving that.
Stop. When you write that 5 down, can you like kind of just forget about it?
Got it.
For the
Done.
first second,
Finish.
yeah, but I mean, we just kind of work on it like we would any problem, like any order operation problem.
Whoa, wait,
So what do we
wait.
still do first?
Like the.
So we hit that.
multiplication.
Wait, so you're saying after we have to add 5 to 5, or you just put that there for?
The green is showing us a label of, hey, this is our G plus 2, this is the 5. The purple is the math we're doing.
Alright.
That mentions us.
So dog.
Okay. So let's talk about this one. So G of 2 plus 5. First up is negative 2 times 2. What is that?
Wait, which one are you on?
Negative 4. Thanks, Sierra. Plus 3 plus 5. Okay.
You're about to right.
G of 2 plus 5. What's negative 4 plus 3? Adding and subtracting left to right. Negative 4 plus 3 is?
Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1.
Very good. What is negative 1 plus 5?
Negative 1 plus 5 is 4.
Yep, so G of 2 plus 5 ends up being 4.
4.
Questions on that one? So, based upon what we did on number 7, what do we think we're going to do on number 8?
We're going to do. Okay, no, I got it. We're gonna do 2. Okay, we're gonna do equals whatever, and then we're gonna do. Oh, that's a G one, right? Yeah. So we go negative 2, then put a bracket, right? And then we would put
What's this
Oh,
saying?
we put negative 1. We put negative 1, and then plus 3.
What's this 2 doing with G of negative 1?
It's multiplying.
So what do we have to do with this whole thing?
We have to bracket it up.
And multiply by
2.
So we put our G of negative 1 inside here. Okay, so we show in the green our label here. So this over here is our G of negative 1, and this right here is the 2 there. Okay. So this is how we end up getting G of 2 times G of negative 1. You take 2, put it, and then you put the G of negative 1 in a bracket there.
So we start with the bracket.
Okay. And yeah, by order of operations, we do grouping symbols. We do innermost first. Okay. So we work inside this bracket. So what's negative 2 times negative 1? 2. Okay, very good. It's positive 2. So let me rewrite this out. 2 times G of negative 1. Yes, it does kind of get to be a little bit of a pain for me. 2 bracket 2 plus 3 and bracket. Okay. That's what your first step should look like after you plug it in. Okay. Okay, what part of it's here? Okay. Those are the extra careful, right? Okay. What's 2 plus 3?
Finish. I got it. I think I know the answer.
Yeah, what'd you get?
I got 7. Wait, what?
Here's the thing, Caden, I know you did. Look here. Do you have more stuff in the grouping symbols to do up here? Do you have more stuff inside of this grouping symbol to do?
Yeah.
What's 2 plus 3? 5. So what's 2 times 5, Brady?
Oh my gosh.
So 2 times the quantity of
Why not I did?
G. You did the 2 times 2 and then you added 3. Alright.
How many people have done that?
That's why I said we had to do it inside the grouping symbol first. Then we did it.
I know this answer.
Okay. Questions on number 8 here? Caden, you want to help me set this one up then?
Yeah, I'll set that up for you.
Go.
Okay, so we're gonna put equals, and we're gonna put negative 2 times negative 1. No. A. Just put A. And then you put minus 1 plus 3.
Okay. So because the a minus 1's in the parentheses here, that's what we plug in for x. We plug in this whole thing in for x. So because x is multiplying with negative 2, a minus 1 is all multiplying with negative 2.
We
Okay?
distribute.
We would distribute. Very good. What's negative 2 times a?
Love. Negative 2 times A is negative 2A.
Very good. What's negative 2 times a negative 1?
That is that's positive 2.
Very good. we still have that plus 3 at the end.
Yeah, so then after that, we can't do negative 2.
So when you get that, get this written down.
So we have to do 2 plus 3.
You have this part written down.
Next part is negative 2a plus 5.
Right? Because yeah, we combine like terms, and negative 2a is not a like term with anything here. But
And
2
that's your
plus 3
answer.
combined, we get negative 2a plus 5.
Sure.
Well, I need to rewrite that. Just writing sign.
That's Gracie. I heard it.
Supposed to be vaping the bathroom.
Why'd you say that, huh? I heard you. Go, heard you. Go.
Okay, well,
Just do that.
no,
Why
I'm
are you
not.
vaping in the bathroom?
Or fighting.
Guys, question on this one. Okay, so Gracie, what you missed
No?
was
You
when
missed
to
it.
finish this problem off.
Okay.
Then here, when we had 2 times all of g minus 1, okay? Here's what we did.
Just distributing.
You know,
Center.
here's what we did.
Like,
Center, that's what I said.
Stop.
You said center.
Stop.
Center.
Stop. Thank you. We had stop. Thank you. Next time when I say stop the first time, let's stop instead of going up like 4 more times. Okay? So like it's reasonable.
I-
So we put the 2 on the outside and put all of the g of minus of negative 1 inside.
Okay.
So we plug negative 1 g, put that in here, and put the 2 outside of them brackets, just like it's written there. Okay? And then we follow order of operations. Say, hey, we need to do inside this bracket first. 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. Add 3 to that, get 5. But 2 times is 5 is 10.
Is it like algebra work? Or
Okay.
is it hard? Is that
So-
so hard?
You could distribute, but it gets really messy fast. It's easiest if we think of doing it inside the parentheses first.
Is it like algebra work? Or
Okay.
is it harder? I mean, not algebra, geometry.
And then this one, g of a minus 1, you take g, and instead of x, you put a minus 1 in the parentheses.
Okay.
And then you get to distribute combine like terms. Go right below this, guys, okay? Evaluate the function, okay? Say this function. F of x is equal to 3x plus 1. And we're supposed to evaluate when the domain is negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2, or 4. What's domain mean?
Domain means x.
The x values. So evaluate this function when x is this, 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 and this. So how many different times are we going to plug things in?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 times, okay? So we're doing 5 separate substitutions, okay? So the first one we do, we'd say f of negative 4 is equal to 3 times what plus 1? F of negative 4, what, if I do f of negative 4 here, if I start with the first x, what am I plugging in for x in this problem?
We're playing for negative 4.
Yeah. So we'd say f of negative 4, that tells us which one we're substituting here, and then we substitute it in from this equation.
So how many times is this? How many times do this problem? 5 times?
Yeah, that's what you just told me.
So the answer 5 times.
You get 5 different answers.
There's 5 answers for this problem.
Yeah, because when x is negative 4, you get 1 answer. When x is negative 2, you get another answer, okay? So for our first one, we end up going, okay, f of negative 4. Well, what's 3 times negative 4, Tony?
Huh?
What's 3 times negative 4?
12.
What kind of 12? Yeah. And Tony, what's negative 12 plus 1? Kind of 11. So f of negative 4 equals negative 11. Then you move on to the next one. You say f of negative 2. That's our next domain, and you keep going, okay? You're going to
Try to see if I can solve these faster than you can talk.
okay? I'm actually going to have you guys solve the next 4 on your own. Next 4? What? Yes. What?
Like that,
And you might want to be careful how far much room you take up left to right here.
Me?
Everybody.
I'm
Very
trying
small.
to be small.
Wait, where's the
Once you have all 5, or if you want me to check out a couple in between, let me know. Tony, please put that away. You asked me and I answered.
Wait, you already got all 4 done?
Yep.
Dang.
You want Gracie to sweat it? Kids clearly.
What?
Gracie.
I said it's like sweat, like it's different.
Oh, I think you know.
I did appreciate it.
Did you sell a lot of peanut butter balls?
Huh?
Have you sold a lot of peanut butter balls yet?
Quite a bit. I'm gonna bring them to school tomorrow.
What did you make?
Like how much money did I make, or
How
how
many
many?
peanut butter balls did you make?
Well, we only made like 30.
Yeah, just see how that.
Yeah.
Only
To
30.
like see if people would buy them, and then if I knew people would, we would
I still need to
things.
solve
So we were like,
2
alright,
more.
keep doing this.
Yeah. How many have you sold so far?
Like 30.
How many have you gave away for free?
Like 30?
To who?
Wow.
You gave them one free, I didn't know that.
It was because it was like, okay, so I was supposed to sell them to, I don't know, an upperclassman, and I was like, hey, Rowan, I have to go work on a test, so do you mind selling it for me? And Rowan's like, yeah, and so Rowan completely forgot, left them in the bottom of her bag, and they got smushed, so I was like, alright, whatever, let's give this one again.
Grader, you done? Yeah. You don't have to go check those.
How do you guys write so fast?
That's not pretty, but it's bad.
Well, because you haven't labeled well, I can tell it's.
Whoa.
Dude, really?
Oh, whoa. Did you use your phone? I was saying like, oh, I got the buttons in the back.
Yeah.
Big boy status.
Big boy status.
What, boy?
You're big, it's alright. I need to get more defined though. Lighter weight. Look at that. Lighter weight. Just lighter weight. Just. I'm gonna start rapping on these. Just. Rap on these. Get this though.
Okay. Let's talk about these up here, guys, okay?
Okay. What was the point of solving all this? Don't touch me.
I agree with those two. Let's talk about f of -2 and f of 0 here, okay? So 3 of -2, or 3 times -2 plus 1.
Quit touching me, dude.
Caden,
I did touch you.
Caden, stop touching with
I didn't even
objects,
touch
stop getting close to them with objects, respect his personal space. Thank you. Yeah, that's what it takes, that's what it takes. 3 times -2 is -6 plus 1. So what's f of -2 gonna be here? What's -6 plus 1?
Aww.
Don't be egregious. Please slide back at least halfway. At least halfway from where you were. Thank you. Unreasonable.
What's your
It's gonna be -5. What's up?
What does egregious mean?
Sorry.
Obnoxious.
Very out of line, obnoxious, that kind of stuff. It's a more powerful word than I am. Just saying, like, it's really this, it's really egregious.
You're ostentatious.
What does that mean? Irrelevant.
You're pretty.
What's a big,
What's
what's 3
for
times 0?
0.
What's 0 plus 120?
What's what?
0 plus 1.
One.
1. So when f is 0, when x is 0, you get 1 out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and you guys found f of 2 to end up being, what was it again? You guys got 7? And what did you guys get for f of 4?
13.
13. Any questions on those? you showed me. Plus the 1. Let's look right below here for the last thing we're doing today, okay? We're gonna have 2 of these types of problem here. Find the value of x so that the function has the given value, okay? Here's what we're doing, okay? F of x is equal to 3x plus 1. We said before, that'd be the same thing as y is equal to 3x plus 1, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. If we're saying f of x is all equal to 7, notice, is x in the parentheses changing at all right now? No, it's still x. We're not going to be plugging something in for x. Rather, where this goes is it goes in place of what?
Y.
Y. So this goes in place of all of f of x. So instead of f of x, we write 7 equals 3x plus 1. So what variable are we solving for now? X. And hey, what's it asking us to do? Find the value of x. And is that what we're doing? Yes. Okay. So we're saying, hey, let's work in reverse. So let's say, Caden, let's say that, head up please. Caden, head up please. Caden, hit.
Yes, sir.
Head up please.
Right.
Thank you. Okay. So instead of plugging in x and finding out what f of x is or the y is, we're plugging in the f of x or the y and finding out what x equals. So how do we solve this equation of 7 equals 3x plus 1? We learned this last chapter.
Well, you just
Subtract 1. 7 minus 1 is 6. And you divide both sides by 3 on the multiplication. What is 6 divided by 3 says? 2. So, when f of x is 7, x is 2.
Why are we doing more steps?
Okay? We're going a different, we're going the other way now. We're going the other direction. Saying, hey, we can go both directions. Okay? So if we start at the end, we can get to the beginning. Before, we've been given the beginning every time. This time we're given the end, okay? I want you guys, okay? You ladies and gentlemen, to do number 2 here, okay? Do number 2 here. Oh!
Wait, whoa, wait, what? Wait, how'd you do that?
It was just like exactly what we did last time. Like, solving for
I'm so confused with that. Why do you have g 4x equals x plus 5 and then semicolon g of x equals negative 2?
Okay.
So put the negative 2 where the g and x go.
So what this is saying, Caden?
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Tony,
Stop.
Tony,
Don't touch me.
if you didn't want to be touched by him, we're gonna respect the background as well, okay?
She don't want to touch them back.
Okay. So what it is f of x equals 3x plus 1. This is what we're given right away. Semicolon. We're given more information. We're also told f of x equals 7. So we plug this 7 in for the f of x here. And 3x plus 1 stays the same. Now we're not
why,
plugging,
like, I don't know, but like, I don't know, like, okay, so.
we're not plugging in for x though. We're not switching the x around.
I know, there's no point to have this at all. Why isn't it just up here or something like that?
Because that way we don't have to, that way it's not the same thing each time, we can change each problem. They're saying on this problem, Caden, g of x is negative 2. On this problem, f of x was 7, it's not the same number. Okay. Is that right?
I just get that.
So negative 2 doesn't go over here, just have the x. So because the x didn't go, because the negative 2 didn't go in the parentheses, we just leave this out.
Hi, is the restroom? How's the restroom? Basically, how's your class?
I'm so freaked. How?
Here you go, Brady. You're good.
You don't want to do this?
Let's look at our first one again, okay? Why don't you copy down what I had first? Okay? And we'll, so I can refer back to that for you. For the first one, you might want to refer back to the title of our notes, title of the section.
I did that, but there's no. Where did? So you basically just took away the G image, and now it's just static.
Because instead of, since the negative isn't in the parentheses, because the change was in the parentheses, so we're not plugging something in. So here's what we're going here. Did I change what x was?
No,
No. So are you changing what x is here?
just remember X.
So it's an x plus 5. See, it says, so let's not add 2 over here. Correct. So the setup is a tricky part. Solving this, you know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's the setup that we need. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was only this way. When it's f of x equals 7. Here, up here, notice every time you had the number in the parentheses, you plugged it in for x. When the number was not in the parentheses, you plug it in for f of x. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Okay, so it's all about that pattern there, okay? So here we're saying the whole thing is going to equal 7. So we set this whole thing equal to 7. Here we're just saying, well, x is going to be this, x is going to be this, x is going to be this. So go try this one out, okay? Pretty easy, by the way, you can listen to me do that.
When you multiply a fraction, common denominators,
Oh.
correct?
Multiply, you don't have to know. Multiply fractions, you can put them both, put them all in one if you want, and like you did there. Okay? And then you say, okay, what can we cross reduce? You know, what's straight across?
See, like, what?
Oh, okay.
Keep reduce is your last one.
I'm listening to you.
Well, I'll watch the video with it though.
Is that
Okay, it's gonna be a distraction if you put it upside down.
You know?
I don't wanna do that, okay, but it's an issue again today, I will. For the first problem, guys, with the blanks, okay, if you're struggling with that, look back up at the section title, okay, section 4.2, what's our section called today? Look back up our section title of our notes, it's written on there, no packet, the